Okay, so we'll start getting into the slideshow. Like I said in the presentation, so if you have any questions along the way, of course, feel free to ask along the way. So this is kind of how I view communication. I call it the 4-part approach, which is number 2 on your follow along sheet in case you're filling in the blanks. I just want to flag that for you. So the 4 parts of communication, we've got verbal, internal, somatic, and listening. And of course, there's lots of subcategories off of that. We could go down a rabbit hole with communication, but we don't have an all-weekend seminar. So we're going to touch on somewhat superficially on these 4 points to help you understand these different areas of communication. Quit working. Oh no, it broke. I'm communicating what's happening with the computer right now.
Verbally and non-verbally.
Yeah, did I not do the poker face for a while? So it says it's restarting the PowerPoint.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know why, but it just felt the need to do that.
Wow. We needed to see some snow, I guess.
Yeah, we haven't seen any in so long.
Yeah, there's snow.
Behind you.
Beach scene.
Okay.
We might all get up and leave if it's Florida.
You wouldn't want to hear about communication if there was a nice beach out there? I don't understand this. Okay. Yes, I just have to get it pulled up. Okay. Yeah. Yay. All right. So, the first part we're going to go over is our somatic piece of our communication. Well, I don't know. It's not wanting to work. So, I'm just going to let that set aside. And if it wants to restart again, I'm not quite for sure. Yeah, it just keeps wanting to restart. This is why it's always good to have printouts. So, the next slide you guys are looking at kind of has a funnel that has relaxed, tired, tense, kind of like balls, and it flows down into our body message. And this is the somatic piece where our emotions, our communication comes into play. And these are often, the reason why I chose these 3 is I find a lot of times, these are the ones we ignore. These are the ones we try to push through. These are the ones we say we'll get to tomorrow. There'll be time to rest later. So I wanted to pose some questions to you guys. What do you notice do you notice any body messages, first of all, or maybe this is the first time you're kind of hearing about this? And what do you do when you do hear them? And how do you guys check in with your somatic language, if you do? Not surprised. So that's why I have, we're going to do a little exercise in here. So if your food comes, we won't be in this exercise too terribly long, but you'll get to smell your food and it'll be ready for you when we're done. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to have you close your eyes and I'm going to do it with you.
Before we do that, can you tell me again what somatic is, what the definition is?
So somatic is a body experience. So
Body
somatic
experience.
is when you physically experience something.
Okay.
And that's the first part of the communication piece we're going to go over today.
I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. So if you go to PowerPoint.
I know I'm trying to get through that.
You'll have to scroll down.
Okay.
Sorry guys, hang on.
That's not bad.
The lights are low. It's a little bit happy. Feeling a little sore.
So you have to scroll down and it should be just KDOT presentation.
Awesome.
It should be towards the
There you go,
bottom, I
right
think.
there.
Okay. So hopefully we'll have that back up soon. So, so I want you guys to close your eyes. We're going to drop back into the experience. And all we're going to do here is you're just going to take some breaths in. And all you're going to notice is just how your body moves with your breath. Maybe you notice your stomach slightly expand as you inhale, flatten as you exhale. Or maybe you notice it in your chest or your shoulders. All you're doing is just noticing right now how your breath moves in your body. And then I'm going to have you check in with any tension or tightness that draws your attention in your body. Perhaps maybe your neck or your shoulders. Or perhaps in your back, just noticing. If you notice any distractions arise, maybe the noise, maybe you're thinking about what you need to do next or don't have time to sit and breathe right now, that's all okay. Just bring your focus back to your body and breath when you notice your mind wander off. And now I want you to take a nice intentional deep breath in. And slowly exhale, taking your time and just noticing your body's exhale. And we'll do that one more time when you're ready. And then exhaling nice and slow. And then you're just going to open your eyes whenever you're ready. We're just going to see, how was that for everybody? What did you notice? Challenges, difficulties? What did you notice in your body? What you didn't notice?
Tension in my shoulders.
That's where I carry it too. Yeah. Anybody else notice anything?
My hands were not clenched, and then by the time they were not clenched.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was relaxing.
How were you able to tell it was relaxing? Did you notice a shift in your body or thoughts? Yeah. So what's interesting about the tension in the shoulders and the neck is when we get anxious or we're stressed, we do the short chest breathing. So then we get this tension and we get tightness up here. Or what I do a lot of times is like hold my breath, almost like I'm gonna get through this, I just gotta get it done. So when you notice some of those body symptoms, you can start to ask some questions. What's happening right now? What am I feeling? And then what ends up happening as you practice that is you start to notice your body sensations so you can react quicker, so you're not as stressed out at the end of the week and so exhausted that you're sleeping all weekend. So your body starts to become your first part of your language and gives you keys before you even know cognitively what's happening. Does that make sense? Okay. So when we listen to our bodies, we can become more present and have greater ability to listen and respond to others. So a lot of you guys in this business world, you're wearing multiple hats, you're working a lot of hours. So it's like, we've got to be efficient, we've got to get things done, we need that communication to be streamlined. And what's interesting with the pods we just did can make such a big difference on the efficiency of communication at home, so you don't have those additional stressors as you're trying to balance that, but also in your workplace. Okay, so this is where I get really geeked out because I love the science part of this. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about your body and why we're even concerned about your body and checking in somatically with your own language. So these are two parts of our autonomic nervous system. When these are in balance, our body, our neurosystem is in homeostasis. It's happy. We're able to move through life without a lot of stress or a lot of exhaustion. And you guys let me know if you have trouble hearing me as they bring the food in, because we can take a quick pause and come back, so there's no worries with that. I want to make sure I'm staying on task here. So when these are in balance, then we're in our healthiest neurological point in our body. So what that allows us to do, that allows us to be present in the moment, that allows us to be able to be present with people. So if you have an employee that comes and has a crisis, or they're calling in sick and missing work, you can get hijacked really easily because you guys got stuff that needs done. So when we can stay in this homeostasis and this balance, we can communicate more clearly, and we can be connected to our bodies that can give us these signs that maybe we're not doing okay and we need to kind of take care of ourselves. So some signs and symptoms when it's out of balance. This is what you're going to notice. So the parasympathetic nervous system, when that's in overdrive and that's heightened over the sympathetic nervous system, that's where you're going to notice like all of a sudden being tired, really lethargic. It's like where the system slows down and you just can't get moving. When the sympathetic nervous system is higher and out of balance, that's where you're going to notice the jittery, gotta go, gotta move, gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. So when those are out of balance, that's when you're going to see some of those characteristics come up, and the neurological system that starts developing when we're very young. So sometimes it's about teaching our bodies breath, because when we did those big breaths, that engages that parasympathetic nervous system. That helps calm that down. So if we get anxious or we feel like we've got to move or we're being short with people, you take some deep breaths. That engages that parasympathetic nervous system. And I like to think of it as like in a vehicle. The parasympathetic nervous system's the brake. The sympathetic is the accelerator. And so if you think about like that, if you're going too fast and that anxiety's kicking up, hit your parasympathetic, hit your brake. We're gonna try it. No, it's not liking me today. So your next slide that you're going to see is the internal part. And if you'll notice, there's 3 questions on that slide that are very relevant to how we have our internal language come up for us and influence how we engage. So 1, how do you carry life experiences with you? Is a good question to ask when we're talking about internal communication. 2, how does this influence your internal language? And then 3, how do you believe your internal language influences your external language? We carry our life experiences in our whole person. So we're talking mind, body, energy, spirit. And this internal language is influenced by our story. I think, some good examples, and I did this last time I did the presentation. I put up a sign of like a beautiful beach where we'd all like to be right now instead of this cold weather. Beautiful, relaxing music playing along. And then we put the Jaws music on. It changed the experience of the image. And so that's how our life experiences. We all know the Jaws music. We all know to get tight, intense, and afraid. And so when we've experienced people in our lives, events, those are part of our framework. Those are part of our lens of how we do internal communication. So I'm going to put it out there and see if you guys have found any times where that's been the case for you. Maybe you've had someone not pay their bill that's owed. And so next time you move with that person differently, or someone who has a similar business, you find yourself being more cautious and making sure to get payment up front. I don't know, have you guys experienced anything like that? Yeah. And I think it really comes into place a lot with when you have employees. Because if you get a line of employees that are calling in sick, or not meeting the needs of the business, we're pretty on point that we need to get them moving. So the next person that comes in doesn't have that background story, but it sure is influencing how we're communicating with them.